Panacea. Sounds of machinery fade behind you as you venture further underground. Whoever built this facility was clearly well financed. It must have taken years to design, excavate, and build a complex like this in secrecy. You continue through dimly lit halls, finally stepping into what appears to be another laboratory area. The corridor before you is deserted. Dr. Adrian Vauclair is somewhere within this facility, and with him the answers you seek. Okay, we're exploring again. I was expecting to go straight into combat for some reason. Okay, only one way forward. I guess that's the way we're going then. Oh, hey, buddy. The old man behind the glass works feverishly at his console, glancing up at you when he can. You know, when he's got time for it. A cigarette dangles from his mouth, its bluish smoke curling around his head. An overflowing ashtray sits at the lab table in front of him. The years have not been kind, but his features are instantly recognizable. Despite his age, he still has the strong chin and high cheekbones that you remember from Green Winter's DVD. This is Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Oh wow, I didn't expect that. I thought he was going to be the final boss or something. As you approach, he stops what he's doing, a look of his intense irritation on his face. He clears his throat, and a harsh, rasping sound emerges from the loudspeaker next to the glass. So you're the Shadowrunners that Audrey warned me about. I assume you've left the trail of corpses in your wake. Oh, is Audrey around? I've got a message for him from Paul Amsel. If you wish to speak with my security captain, that can be arranged. He reaches down, flips a switch. You hear a loud thud and a click behind you as the door locks shut. You'll find that the blast door behind you is sealed, and the laboratory that you occupy is fully secured. An important precaution. We keep our test subjects in there, and they are far more dangerous than you. He takes a drag on his cigarette. I won't permit you to cause any further harm, Shadowrunner. You will remain trapped where you are for your own good. Iger, why don't you tell the doc how we feel about being trapped? With pleasure. In one smooth motion, Iger raises her shotgun and unloads a spread of pellets into the glass. They cling into the window, ricocheting wildly in all directions. The surface remains unblemished. The window between us is made of die-coat treated transplast. Do whatever you like to it, you'll find that it's quite unbreakable. The bastard's right, nothing we're carrying can even scratch die-coat. That glass is essentially sheathed in diamond. We need military grade explosives to crack it. She frowns. We're stuck in here. If only we had those self-destruct drones. Now, he fixes you with a level stare. I want to know why in hell you've so violently interjected yourself into my business. First you break into my estate, which you didn't even know was mine, apparently. Then you spend what must have been a small fortune to track me down. You locate my AI, destroy it, then drive all the way out to the countryside, and finally you shoot your way into my laboratory. He leans forward, hands on the table, his eyes narrowed into a piercing stare. So I have to ask you, Shadowrunner, who are you, and why in God's name are you here? We came to find you, Vauclair, to help us stop Firewing, except the Firewing wasn't the one after us after all. It was you all along, wasn't it? Vauclair sighs, covers his face with his pale, nicotine-stained hands. To help you stop Firewing. That is ironic. But yes, you are correct. I am the one who's been hunting you, the one who sent Apex and Audrey after you. You're going to pay for that, you bastard. Why attack the Kreutz Bazaar, Vauclair? Why kill Paul Amsel? It was necessary to preserve the secrecy of my work, for the greater good of all. I know I have wronged you, and for this I am sorry. He sighs a long, rattling sigh that quickly turns into a violent fit of coughing. The sound echoes over the loudspeaker. He collects himself, continues. I don't explain you to understand, nor do I have the time to explain it to you. He straightens, glances back to the screen at his side, and nods curtly. Now I must know, how did you learn that I was still alive? How did you even know to look for me? Did someone send you? Your brother got us into this mess. He hired us to break into your estate. We pieced the rest together from his journals. Beauclair starts, and the sudden movement of his arm sends his overflowing ashtray flying from the table in a cloud of ash. My brother? Hermie? It's been years. Have you seen him? How is he? His brow furrows. He takes a step towards you impatiently. Well? Oh. You mean you didn't know? You killed him too. Just like Paul and Monica. He slumps into the chair next to him, his whole body shaking. I didn't. He's suddenly overcome by a fit of coughing. He steadies himself on one arm of the chair. Apex. He clutches his chest. I should never have trusted that thing. He closes his eyes, and a tear traces his way down the gaunt hollow of his cheek. Oh, Hermie, the things I've sacrificed, all for this, all for the panacea, all for tonight. All for what, Beauclair? Tell me what's going to happen tonight. You owe Hermie that much. He looks up dazed, his eyes unfocused. What's going to happen? Oh, yes, tonight. Tonight will be the end of the dragons, not just Firestring, all dragons. Let me get this straight. You had a bad experience with one dragon, so now you're going to wipe out an entire species? Beauclair fumbles in his pockets, produces a fresh cigarette. He lights it with shaking hands and breathes in deeply. The orange glow of the cigarette flares bright. When he exhales, the words spill out with the smoke. The fire ring burned and murdered and caused untold damage in her bestial rage until the Dragonfall, until I stopped her. But that destruction was merely a symptom of a greater cancer. Firestring wrought destruction with fire and claw. The dragons of today, Lofweir, Dunkelzahn, Saladir, they kill and conquer with subtler tools. Deception, manipulation, corruption. He spits with disgust. They use us as pawns, playing pieces, puppets in their millennia-long machinations. Oh yes, dragons are a cancer, one that will conquer, or worse, destroy all of humanity if we do not stop it. One that metastasized when the world awakened. An ironic metaphor, since it was the failing of my own body that allowed me to see it. Go on. He's wrecked again by violent coughing, allows it to subside, takes another long drag on his cigarette, the ash creeping closer and closer towards his mouth. I have leukemia, cancer of the blood, no doubt brought on by the radiation of the SOX. It was when I heard my doctor's diagnosis that I realized what I had to do, what my life's work would be in the time I had left. I'm so sorry, Hermie. I'm sorry you won't be able to see it for yourself. I'm sorry I failed you. Beauclair turns his attention back to the computer, stubbing out his cigarette. He grabs a fresh one from the pack and lights it. Tonight I will release my panacea to the world. And how absurd that the instrument of Dragonkind's destruction... He presses a button on the terminal, and a large observation window at the end of the room rises open, slowly. Will be carried by Firestring herself. Whoa! Through the glass you see the prostrate form of a dragon far below. An enormous set of shackles binds it, and a maze of tubes snakes into its body. The tubes connect to a cruel-looking apparatus that has been mounted to the wall. Son of a bitch, look at that. You found her alive in the SOX after all. Tonight the fire wing will fly again. Infected with panacea, she will slowly be destroyed from within. But before that happens, she'll provide the catalyst for the global transmission of the virus. Catalyst? What catalyst? As if spurred on by the sight of the dragon below, he begins typing furiously at his terminal. Fireshwing's fire will carry the agent in its dormant state. Any metahumans exposed will become carriers, will spread the disease to other dragons. The carriers will be infected with Panacea as well, but it will not harm them. To non-dragons it is a nuisance, nothing more. When a critical mass of carriers is achieved, my Panacea will become unstoppable. It will spread across the globe in a relentless tide. However, if it does not reach this critical mass, it will fizzle, die out, become inert. Hence the need for Ground Zero, a flashpoint for a mass infection event. He looks to the ceiling, mumbling to himself. I'm sorry, Hermie. I know how much you loved your flux state, but that doesn't matter now. It must be Berlin. Hold on. What are you gonna do? He continues his work, filled with a feverish energy. To save the world, yes. For Panacea to work, Berlin must burn. A sacrifice, one for the greater good. Fireshwing will breathe her infected fire upon Berlin. Thousands will die, and through that destruction the virus will take to the air. A critical mass of Berlin's metahuman population will be exposed, but none will even think to quarantine the city until it's too late. The flux state lacks any centralized authority. Corporations will evacuate their own. Thousands will flee the city, infected. He mutters, his voice growing more detached. Oh yes, Hermie. Berlin is the perfect flashpoint. It wasn't supposed to happen tonight, no. But this little intervention of yours leaves us no choice. So let us see. He squints at the screen. Tonight's wind patterns dictate that Ground Zero to be Tempelhof Schöneberg. Highly populated, the virus will spread quickly enough from there. That's only a few million kilometers from the Kreuzbazaar, the place we care about. We don't care about the other places. The Kreuzbazaar, my favorite cafes are the Kreuzbazaar. Wow, on point. Look, you're crazy, and we're probably going to all die, but we are not letting you get away with this. Nonsense. You're seated tight in that laboratory, impotent to stop me. The old man eyes the cigarette butt in his hand, fishes out another from the pack and lights it with the first. Then he returns to the console, leaving to the side for a microphone. He mutters something into the receiver. You can just barely make out the sound of the name Audrin. When he turns to address you again, his voice is level. The shaking in his hands seems to have subsided. Security will be here soon, and they will take care of you. Do not worry. You will not be harmed. The sacrifice that I'm making tonight is a necessary evil. It cannot be helped. But so long as you remain confined, I see no reason to kill you, too. How are you going to get Fireshwing to go along with this plan of yours? Vauclair continues his work. Oh, that's simple enough. He gestures to his left. She has no choice. Oh, there's a person in a bottle. The gaunt woman in the containment cell stands rigidly, her face pressed against the glass, her haunted yellow eyes tracking your every move. She appears frightened, disoriented, lost. Her mouth moves silently, her voice muted by her glass cage. So, the stories Green Winters found were true. Fireshwing's astral form was separated from her body when she fell. You trapped her somehow. Yes, but that came later. In 2012, we took down Fireshwing with an experimental weapon. This device, suffice it to say, I couldn't fully predict how it would affect her. In 2036, I led a search team into the SOX. I had to know what really happened to the creature that I had slain. We found her alive, in a way. The dragon's astral form, her spirit you might say, had been ripped from her body by the weapon. It was trapped inside a young woman living within the SOX. A mob of glowpunks revered her, treated her like a goddess. I transported the young woman in the dragon's body here, so where I could study them. You mean that she's been in that cell for almost 20 years? The old man nods absently. No choice. A creature separated from its astral form cannot live more than a few hours before both die. It was the high-intensity radiation of the SOX combined with the magical creature inside her that allowed the woman to live for as long as she has. So, Vauclair seems almost eager to explain. The environment within her containment chamber mirrors that of the SOX. It has allowed us to keep Firespring alive all these years, while her bestial shell remains chained up below. Now, as for her physical form, that will be simple as well. We've drilled a series of electrical charges directly into her skull. When we release the Firewing's body, empty of her astral self, we will trigger all the vicious instincts and primal urges left in her reptile brain. She will unleash her fire where we command it. Astral dragon stuck in a jar, big dumb dragon body rigged up to obey your commands. Got it. He shrugs. Summarize as you wish. History will prove me right. Nevertheless, I'm done discussing this with you. Firespring must fly, Berlin must be sacrificed, and it must be tonight. Now, where is that damned Audrin? You don't burn a city and call it a sacrifice. You call it what it is, mass murder. Vauclair stiffens, turning to face you. Anger washes across his face. Was it mass murder when America dropped the atomic bomb on Japan? The myopic would say yes, just as you are now. But they did it for a cause, to shorten the agony of war, to save the lives of thousands upon thousands of soldiers. The old man is trembling now. I do the same for the good of the world. Ending a war and exterminating an entire intelligent species are two very different things. Don't be so self-righteous. We drive new species to extinction every single year on this planet. Dragons, at least, we have cause to destroy. Humanity was born to reproduce, to multiply, but dragons were born to acquire, to accumulate, to hoard. Both strive to bend the world to their will. Humanity has conquered the air, land, and sea through sheer numbers. Dragons, however, employ different means altogether. Throughout history, they have allowed us to do the heavy lifting while they pull the strings. There are 17 great dragons in the world today. 17 ancient worms, millennia old, slowly dividing the planet into 17 piles of gold to nest upon, in front of our eyes. Once upon a time, they burned castles to steal the treasure we collected, laid waste to entire armies. But here in the sixth world, it is no longer about tooth and claw and fiery breath. The old man's voice seethes with hatred. Now it is public relations, marketing, mergers and acquisitions. You see it every day. Dragons on the trio, in the boardrooms, they gather influence, wealth, power, continually hoarding until one of them sits atop it all. Perhaps not in this cycle of the world, perhaps not the next. But one day, one worm must stand alone, triumphant, with all of humanity as its cattle, with all the world as its prize, and that, he trembles, his voice dropping to a whisper, that I will not allow. You're not infallible, Doc. You've already made mistakes here, and people died as a result. Vauclair looks amused. Mistakes? He uses the tip of his cigarette to gesture at the glass. So says the career criminal trapped in the containment room. I've read some of your inter-office communications. There have been a number of deaths here over the years, haven't there? He pauses. We have suffered losses, yes. They were tragic. But the people here accepted that there would be risks. They made their own choices. I won't take the blame for that. Both of these are good choices. No, of course you won't. Admitting fault might undermine the hero myth that you've built up around yourself. You think that I like watching people die? That I've enjoyed spending the better part of my life locked away in this lab with a creature that I hate? You think I'm doing this for me? Yes, actually, I think that you've gotten used to playing the role of the long-suffering hero. I don't think you remember how to be anything else. He glares at you through the glass. Is there some point that you're trying to make, or are you just trying to anger me? My point is that everyone makes mistakes, even you, and yet you want to roll the dice with a biological weapon. It will work, I'm telling you. Bet you told your researchers that their lab would be safe too. Look how that turned out. The muscles at the corner of his mouth tighten. Why am I even talking to you? You're trapped in there, and I've still got work to do. Audrey will be here for you soon enough. The old man turns away for you, studying some invisible detail on his console. This plan of yours killed your brother. Was it really worth it? Vauclair's fist slams into the table, sending his cigarette flying in a cascade of sparks and ash. No! Nothing can make that right. Nothing. He runs a hand through his unkempt hair, blinking through a haze of sudden tears. Damn it, Hermie, why couldn't you just let me go? Oh, did your brother die? That's funny, because you're about to murder my entire Kiez. His eyes flash. It's not murder, Shadowrunner, it is sacrifice. Murder is selfish, but sacrifice... To sacrifice is to do that which is necessary. He stares at you for a long moment, then shakes his head in resignation. Why am I even talking to you? What do I hope to accomplish? You will never understand. Besides which, I have work to do. He turns and punches a series of buttons on his control console. When he turns back, he seems to have calmed somewhat, but there's a firmness to his tone that wasn't there before. Oh no, I screwed up. My plan is not without flaws. The human cost will be high, and I will concede that a better plan to our salvation might exist, but I don't know what it is. I wish that I didn't have to sacrifice so many, Shadowrunner. I wish that Hermie had to die. Don't. His voice thunders through the intercom, cutting you off. But this solution is here, now, in my hands, and I choose to take it. Through the speakers, you hear the sound of heavy footsteps approaching. Oh no! Ah, Audrey, good. It's about time you showed up. Sorry, Doctor, we were walking up the dragon's physical form. It required some care. But the procedure is ready to begin now. You should see to it. The orc sneers at you from behind the glass, his scarred features writhing in the dancing light of Vauclair's monitor. Looks like you trapped the thugs who were attacking the manor. Yes, they won't be a problem any longer, but with Apex gone, our security is still compromised. We'd best still hurry. Oh, and Audrey, don't forget to clean the containment unit afterwards. The virus will kill Firestring along with the rest, and when it does, her astral form will perish as well, human host or no. We're going to stop you, Vauclair. We'll find a way, and we'll make it painful. Audrey twists suddenly towards the glass. Quiet! Everything's ready in the chamber, Dr. Vauclair. I think you should start the procedure yourself. Vauclair brings his cigarette to his mouth and hails sharply, holding it for a long moment. Yes, my friend. He looks to the ceiling. It is time, Hermie. Let's do some good. Vauclair stubs out his last cigarette with a heavy sigh. I will begin the infusion process. Audrey, please make sure our guests here are securely locked away before you come down. I'm sorry, Analog. Sorry for your friend Paul Amsel. Sorry for Frost Schaefer. Sorry for the Kreutz Bazaar. Sorry for Berlin. I wish there were another way. An elaborate plan to destroy an entire species, a massive underground fortress with an army of mercenaries. You sound just like a dragon, Doc. Fire flashes in Vauclair's eyes. His back straightens. And what do you presume to know of dragons? I have spent my entire life studying them. I know that what Firestring did will pale in comparison to what you're about to do. Yeah. The Firewing brought blind destruction into this world with her death without purpose. What I do tonight is far from blind. It is a necessary action for the survival of our species. A man can gather power, wield it for his lifetime, but nothing more. His work will fade, lost to the inevitable entropy that decays all. Oh, he may create a dynasty that will stand for a time, but his dust will not reap its benefit. Beauclair's voice is steady now. For a moment, his age, illness, and fatigue fall away. Dragons are immortal. Time means little to them. What they will, and no power can truly stop them unless it is death itself. War, plague, famine, natural disaster, setbacks, merely setbacks, avarice eternal. No Shadowrunner, I am not one of them, no more than you are. Beauclair looks down for a long moment, then turns and exits the room. Well, that could have gone better. Audrey turns to stare at you through the glass, his lips curl into an insolent smile. Hi again, long time. How's Amsel doing? That hole in his brain pan heal up okay? Glory fixes the orc with a cold stare. Taunt all you want. If we get out of here, you'll wish you'd never set foot in the Kreutz Bazaar. The burned orc knocks on the heavy transplast window, separating you. Afraid that's not gonna happen. This lab's locked down tight, like the doc said. The test subjects that they keep in there don't play well with others. Dangerous, nasty things. And they don't smell great either. But you'll see for yourself in a second. I doubt he's got family in Berlin. But why not? You don't want to see them die, do you? Dr. Beauclair's my family, asshole. He's a great man, a man of vision. And I'm gonna make sure that his vision becomes reality. He checks the monitor. Listen, I gotta go. Have fun with the test subjects while I'm gone. He grins and flips a switch on the console. You hear the hiss of doors sliding open nearby. If you're still alive when I get back, I'll put a bullet in you or something. Bye. Well, at least there's only one. Fire Drake. Okay. Oh wow, that's got a lot of health. A whole lot. Well, it's very manageable. $57. All right. You can do it. Whoa, I'm glad it wasn't closer. Okay. Yeah, one. Are there any others? That's the way I came. So... congratulations, I am winner. Go on Overwatch just in case, but oh, if only I did it slightly closer. Oh well. Yeah, shoot that guy. Shoot him. Shoot him harder. Oh, I'm surprised she has a line of sight. Jeez. Okay. Are they gonna keep coming? I forgot to check if she had any medkits. I don't think she does. So, if there's things around... It doesn't look like there are, aside from that one. Then, oh no. This isn't gonna be good. Okay. I can do it. Out of ammo. I was counting on that time to reload. Or to move, I mean. Yeah, here. But then, alas, no shooting for us. And of course, no line of sight. That's just wonderful. Overjoyed. This splendor here. Great. Perfect. There we go. Okay. Not good. Not good. Oh. Okay, well, at least she can hit both of these guys. Maybe she should aim 48. Ah. There we go. That's I missed them both. Great. Perfect. That's how to fight well, yeah. Always make sure not to hit your enemy. Alright, and hopefully this hits. Hopefully. Good. Oh, still got one shot, because that's a free reload. That's the same. Alright. Okay. Might need to move out of this fire that I'm standing in, but minus 8 HP per round. I'm gonna not move and do more damage instead. Okay. And that was it. So that's good. What's this? Advanced medkit. And of course, Glory's the most damaged again. but Blitz has the least HP. I suppose I should use one of these on him. Alright, before I talk to her, is there anything anywhere? No. Just the girl in the tube. The gaunt woman paused the glasses at your approach, her haunted yellow eyes tracking your every move. When you activate the intercom, a green light activates inside the containment cell, and she flinches up at it, startled. So you're an ancient dragon, huh? A small voice whispers through the lips that barely move. It sounds hoarse and awkward, like a rusty lock. Help, please, help. How do I get out of here? I know a free way to free yourself. Then you help me. A deal if you agree to free me. Let's think this through, Analog. Be careful. Well, rule number 1 of Shadowrun, don't make a deal with the dragon. Okay, sure, I'll help you, I promise. The woman nods enthusiastically. I will help you, grant you release, and you will repay me in kind. Yes, yes. You can escape from this room. There's a panel in the floor, there is. You can drop down, find your way into the guts of this place. There by my body is the machine. Break it, break it, break it. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Here it is. I mean, I would have found that eventually without her help.